I thought the energy levels of both sides was terrific.
Yeah.
It was, I suppose, City came out the winners, didn't they?
Oh, they did.
I think if they were watching the game, Pep was watching it at home with a wry smile on his face, desperately wanting a draw, and that's what they got. It's going to be difficult now for Liverpool or Chelsea to catch them.
Almost impossible to close the gap.
Well, it's never impossible. We were sat on this show, what was it, 3-4 weeks ago, Simon, talking about how we thought the three teams will all be there or thereabouts. So there's no reason why City can't have a bad spell.
Yeah,
just because they're on they do this. They go on wonderful long spells of winning football matches, but they're like anyone. They can have a bad spell. We'll have to wait and see. It's unlikely, but Danny, we can live in hope.
You're spot on. I mean, the Christmas New Year period, Simon. 3 weeks ago today, Manchester City were top on 38 points, just 1 point clear of Liverpool and 2 clear of Chelsea. Look at them now. Try and catch us.
No, absolutely.
I mean, it's been the perfect spell for Manchester City. 10-point advantage at the top of the table after that draw yesterday. I mean, they're out of sight. No one's going to get them now, surely.
You wouldn't think so. I mean, ultimately, Chelsea and Liverpool have lost a bit of form at the same time as Man City have picked up even more momentum, and it's draws, of course, getting beat by Leicester that haven't helped teams like Liverpool. But you know what? There's a funny situation in football that things can turn very quickly. I can't see any reason why Man City would lose any form. I can't see any reason why they would drop 10 points over a period of time.
Well, Liverpool got a game in hand, haven't they?
But Liverpool got one game in hand. So you're looking at...
And they've got to play City again.
And they've got to play City again. So if you take those two games in isolation and say, that could be a 6-point swing. It could be.
Yeah.
But it's still... They're still 5 points away from Liverpool at that particular point. So
this is what you get, Simon, when you've got quality in your ranks. Since the international break in November, Manchester City have played 12 games in 42 days, and they've won every one except one. And that was a Champions League clash against Leipzig.
Well, this is what you get when
nobody
you
can get the better of them here.
Yeah,
well, this is it.
Well, it's also what... Yeah, I agree, but the squad's terrific. It's also what you get when you've got a wonderful coach who plays a certain brand of football that suits... playing lots of games, because they keep the ball so well. They're the best possession-based team in Europe. They keep the ball better than anybody, which tires the life out of the opposition.
Yeah, and
it means you don't have to run as much. Of course, they've also got the luxury of. I mean, they keep rotating that front six, like the front three with 6 players they've got to choose for those 3 positions, which gives them a freshness in most games that other teams.
But it's also a nice, with all due respect to the opposition, it's also a nice run of games that they've
had.
They've had Wolverhampton Wanderers who are not pulling up any trees. Leeds, after putting out an incredible amount of energy against Chelsea, then tried to do the same thing and got done 7-0. Then they play Newcastle, who are poor, and then they caught Leicester in the first half. And then Brentford. So you look at those run of games. None of them are easy. But then there are also games that you would have expected in each occasion for Man City to have won.
Yeah. I mean, again, I go back to what you and I have just said, though, Danny. This tiredness, does it honestly exist? I mean, talk about intensity and pace. Yesterday dispelled that over what we saw at Stamford Bridge.
Fixture congestion, to me, logically suits the bigger teams, the best teams, because they've got the best squads. So you can rotate without being too weak. It doesn't suit the lesser teams with smaller squads. It's quite simple.
Yeah, but Klopp and Tuchel have been the most vociferous amongst the most.
Yeah, but I heard Simon talking about this last week, and he was bang on. You just got to. Well, he was. You got to get on with it. I mean, I remember through my one experience of a really congested season back in 2001. I think it was when we won the treble at Liverpool.
61 games.
Houllier just embraced it. He used to use it as a positive and a challenge. He never whinged about it. He never moaned. Yeah. And if anything, it helped him. We had 4 strikers. We had Heskey, Littmanen, Owen, Fowler. We had lots of midfield players. He'd rotate it. He wouldn't have people knocking on the door because he could play them in the next game. He used it as a challenge and a hurdle.
But where's it coming from, Dan? I mean, I read your articles over the weekend, which were very good, by the way. Where is this lightweight mentality of player welfare? Sean Dykes just drove a bus for it the other day, which I thought was brilliant.
Did to a degree.
And Moisey, but where's it coming from? This ridiculous scenario that all of a sudden these over-cosseted players are suddenly victims of a work ethic or a work requirement which is beyond the pale. Where's this mentality coming from?
Well, I think it starts with the managers, and then some of the players have to jump on the bandwagon to back their managers. I was thinking back, and I can't remember for the life of me a player moaning to me about having to play another game. There is an argument over Christmas that there's one game too many and you could lose the quality, but I haven't seen that. I loved playing, and I think most players do. I think the managers are the ones who've started it because the pressure's so big.
But I also think it's a power grab, isn't it? I mean, I spoke about last week about players wanting to have a lot more to say, managers having a lot more to say, because they wanted to have 5 substitutes. And that was an argument they could have had, right?
Yeah.
But that wouldn't have made any difference at Christmas because the COVID protocols were isolating people out of commission, so we didn't have enough squad bandwidth to be able to have 5 substitutes anyway.
Yeah, sure.
But if you
Incidentally, one thing, is this going to keep carrying on this morning? I mean, I know we're first show of the new year, but Danny said, Simon, what you said last week was absolutely spot on. And Simon said to Danny, and I read your column over the weekend. I must say it was absolutely
what's
wonderful.
Is we're going to marginalise you, right?
That's a given. That's a given. Bring it on,
Jim. Let's just go back to it a second. I think it is
Mutual Respect Society.
I think it is unusual because of the COVID situation and all that. We didn't have to deal with that. Now they're two separate. Are we talking about fixture congestion or are we talking about the COVID protocols? They are different things and they have crossed over.
Yes,
but I just think the mentality of moaning and whinging and blaming has been increased by the pressure on the managers to win things, and they're looking to blame somebody else for making an excuse. You know, at the end of the season, if I don't know if he will, because I like to, I know you do as well, Simon. But if he's coming out and saying, well, the New Year and Christmas killed us because of the COVID, we should have had that game called off and we played too many games. I'm sorry, I can't have that.
When Pep Guardiola comes out and starts talking about bloody strikes.
Well, can we give that some context as well? Because he was asked a question about players.
But you don't use the word strike, do you?
No, they asked him the question, Simon.
I know, but he can shut it down if he wants to, because he then took it beyond the question.
But he also said, I don't think that's going to happen.
No, he didn't, but he said at the very end, I don't know if it's going to happen.
He said it,
but he ran it, he let it...
You seen the interview?
Yeah, Dan.
He said it.
He said what? We'll find out.
Go on, and he said what?
We'll find out. Look,
I spoke to a journalist yesterday who was there.
I listened to it. He let it run the gauntlet, right? He let it run the length and breadth of where he wanted to take it, right? And anybody that has the audacity, the brass neck, to talk to people about players going on strike is not reading any room right on any level.
It's ludicrous to say.
And they've gone on one every game.
But he was asked a question.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you have to bloody answer it.
He said at the end of his answer.
Simple. Don't be ridiculous. Footballers should never strike.
Exactly. Yeah.
End of discussion.
Not in any circumstances.
That's a perfect answer. What he actually said was that's probably the only way you would get change, but he doesn't think it.
Because he wanted the question. Because he wanted to give that answer. That question suited the narrative of what he wanted. The journalist...
He's not dictating.
And incidentally, while we're putting people on the spot, former Liverpool midfielder Danny Murphy, should Manny have gone yesterday? Was it a red?
It was a red, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's classic early in the game, get away with one.
Right, okay.
The way it is.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.